On the news, Lassa fever claims life of pregnant woman in Enugu State. PDP lawmakers protest at US-UK embassies. And Britain confirms first case of coronavirus. Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Philip. A 24-year-old pregnant woman has died of Lassa fever in Enugu State. Permanent Secretary of the Enugu State Ministry of Health, Ifeanyi Agujiobi, confirmed that the woman died at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Utukozala. In a statement issued on Friday, Chief Medical Director of the Teaching Hospital, Obinna Onondugo, disclosed that the patient presented full-blown symptoms of Lassa fever and could not be saved. He added that they were working with the Enugu State Epidemiology Team and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, to decontaminate all sections of the hospital where the patient was managed. On his part, Agujiobi stated that the state government has provided 20 new special emergency facilities across Enugu to attend to the issues of Lassa fever. So far, 258 cases of Lassa fever have been confirmed across Nigeria, with 41 deaths reported across 19 states in the country. And now to political matters. The leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have stormed the embassies of the United States of America and the United Kingdom with petitions on the state of affairs in the country. The protesters included National Chairman of the party, Uche Secondus, and the PDP party chieftains led the protesters to the American embassy at the diplomatic zone in Abuja. At the embassy, Secondus handed a letter to the embassy officials containing the PDP's position that President Muhammadu Buhari is overwhelmed by the security situation in the country and was in need of foreign assistance. Secondus also described the latest Supreme Court judgment on the Imo governorship election as an act of injustice perpetrated by the administration during last year's election.
International communities should come to the aid of Nigeria and to advise our government to obey the rule of law, especially as it relates to the National Assembly and the judiciary. Over the past few weeks, we have passed through very difficult and challenging times. And you know, the case in question is Imo State. And we have submitted our petition. We've addressed a press conference on the issue. And as we speak, Mr. President had lost control of security. Our nation is in danger. We are in pain and we're in trouble. And as a party, we cannot keep our hands waiting for the propaganda of the presidency. This country belongs to everyone, all Nigerians. And today, we backed our minority leader, asking and demand that Mr. President should resign because he had lost control.
Meanwhile, National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, has criticized the protest staged by the members of the People's Democratic Party. The PDP's protest at the UK and US embassies had bordered on the Supreme Court judgment which nullified the election of PDP candidate Emeka Ihedioha as governor of Imo. While addressing State House correspondents at the presidential villa in Abuja, Oshiomhole maintains that the court of law has had the final say on the matter.
Now, is there any of us in this room who is not aware that at the time Emeka Ihedioha was declared, even the returning officer could not show that he scored the constitutional requirement of at least 1/4 of the total vote cast in at least 2/3 of a local government. On that criteria alone, there is no question in the eyes of the law, Emeka Ihedioha ought not to have been declared because he scored he had those numbers only in 12 local governments. Nine local governments. And of course, you know you have about 27 local governments. So,
18.
as journalists, it's 9 to 10 of 27. So, INEC completely and irresponsibly misbehaved by using a professor who seems to be so senile that he didn't know that 9 is not to 10. This is very serious. And because they take advantage of the fact that once they make a pronouncement, even if the pronouncement is made by a lunatic in INEC, you can't revise it. You have to go to court. And if it is PDP's fixation, rig them, let them go to court. And they just thought that they have a monopoly, that, not a monopoly, that it is their birthright to continue to rig election. So the next time you see them talking, ask them, how many local government did PDP score 1/4 of the vote of the total vote cast in how many local government? And for me, it shocks that nobody is interrogating INEC. And that's how they get away with this blue model.
Weeks after Southwest governors established the controversial security outfit codenamed Amotekun, governors of southeastern states say they have concluded plans to establish a similar security infrastructure in their geopolitical zone. Chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum and Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi announced this when he hosted the General Officer commanding 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, Lasisi Adeboye, in Abakaliki, the state capital. Umahi said they had written to the federal government and also met with military authorities on their plan. He explained that there was a need for regional synergy on security matters because of the expected benefits. Recall that the federal government had initially declared Amotekun illegal, but reached a compromise after a dialogue session between the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, Southwest governors, and other stakeholders. And still on politics, Imo State Governor Senator Hope Uzodinma has repeated his resolve to prioritize the welfare of residents of Imo State by repositioning the Imo State Civil Service for optimal productivity. Uzodinma made this known while addressing newsmen at the presidential villa in Abuja after he met with President Buhari. The governor also added that he plans to restore confidence in the state civil service.
Only a few days ago, when I got to Imo State, I discovered that salaries were not being paid in full. And the reason being that the money coming from Abuja, the Federation account, is not sufficient. What I did was to cut down the running costs. I cut down the running costs and forfeited the security vote donated to this governor, made up the money, and we were able to pay salaries 100% to all the civil servants. I also directed that local government funds should be sent straight to local government until such a time the state is ready to release 10% of their IGR to local government. Then we can now begin to do the business of JAC, Joint Allocation Committee. But we already established priority areas: education, agriculture. All these are priority areas. Then government has no business being direct business people. We'll try to see how we can introduce PPP, public-private partnership, and bring private sector investors to also help grow our economy. We are interested in reviving the industries that has gone moribund because of lack of electricity, because of lack of potable water, because of lack of access road. I'm going to, living here now, I'm going to talk with the Department of Petroleum Resources. We already have a gas pipeline that terminates at Owerenta Navy Barracks. So if they gives us the approval, we want to bring private people that will take gas to our industrial layout, so that all the industries will have gas, that gas pipeline as their source of power supply.
Non-governmental organization Kimpat's Development Initiative has unveiled a report of their monitoring of the election petition tribunals in Nigeria. At the unveiling, which held in Abuja, Executive Director of Kimpat, Bukola Idowu, called for new legislation that will make judiciary more independent. He added that the electoral laws needs to be reviewed for the judiciary to be truly fair and independent.
In Nigeria, the number of cases in the elections that have gone to court is quite large. I think comparatively, if you look at it globally, it's large numbers, in the hundreds and in the high hundreds, both for pre-election cases and also cases after the elections that actually go to court. And this is why this process of monitoring what is happening in the courts is so important. Election observation is a key component of transparency of the electoral process. Monitoring what happens before the elections, monitoring what happens on election day, monitoring what happens during the count and the results collation processes. That's very important.
Just finished doing the rerun in Owerri for the Olu Federal Constituency rerun. And during the process, the police came in, tried to stop the process because we got an order from the court which they wanted to use to stop the election. But the order, like Samson Itodo said, was flawed. And so we decided to continue to do the rerun. If we had listened to the police, the whole exercise would have been scuttled. So there's a limit to what INEC can do.
It is difficult for people to go to the tribunal and get justice in electoral matter. For instance, it is highly difficult because you look at the number of cases. For instance, for governorship, 67 petitions were filed. None of them won their case at the tribunal, even at the appeal. So it shows us that that process is wrong.
Nigeria is prepared to prevent the spread of coronavirus into the country. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, and Minister of Health, Osage Ehanire, gave the assurance to Nigerians during a corona preparedness and response meeting in Abuja. Participants at the meeting maintained that Nigeria can hold her own against the epidemic, just as the country adequately tackled the Ebola virus in 2015.
It's exactly 1 month today since the novel coronavirus broke out around the world. As of today, the 31st of January 2020, the World Health Organization says over 9,000 confirmed cases have been reported, mostly in mainland China alone, and about 100 cases around the world. With coronavirus now declared as a global public health emergency, the Nigerian government has not rested on its laurels, and one of such strategies to contain the disease is the Interministerial Coordination Meeting. The meeting is essentially to scale up the level of preparedness to avoid the importation of the virus into the country and response measures in the event of its identification. The Minister of Health enumerated the efforts of the government towards the epidemic while insisting that ruling out the possibility of the virus coming to Nigeria is unrealistic. He also revealed that there are no confirmed cases of coronavirus in the African continent.
There are as yet no confirmed cases in Africa, but the potential has been clearly demonstrated. However, the World Health Organization has now declared the coronavirus epidemic a public health emergency. While the risk of importation exists, we must assure Nigerians of our capacity to detect, assess, and respond to this and other public health threats at points of entry. Ongoing surveillance at points of entry involves temperature detection with thermal scanners and visual observation of passengers who may have signs and symptoms of illness. Where any suspect cases are detected, the traveler is invited to step aside and the travel history is taken to ensure relevance to determining response. The established public health emergency contingency plan will then be activated accordingly.
The Minister of Information and Culture was brewing with confidence in the ability of Nigeria to contain the virus, just as it maintains that advocacy and sensitization strategies are key in making Nigeria coronavirus free.
I'm glad that the Honorable Minister has also reassured Nigeria that there's no need to panic. But I think they need to take these basic measures which he has, enumerated, and we will deploy all our, platforms, the FRC and the NTA, the News Agents of Nigeria, and in particular the National Orientation Agency, which has a representation in each of the 704 local governments of the country to actually, help to educate Nigerians about this, outbreak of epidemics.
Although the city of Wuhan in China has been placed on lockdown, there are still fears that a good number of Chinese nationals are already back into Nigeria after celebrating the Chinese Lunar Festival in their home country. Adeshawa Odushoga, TV360, Abuja.
Following the Lagos State's ban on motorcycles and tricycles, riders of Max and Golkada motorbike hailing services have staged a protest. Motorcycle riders in Lagos say the government simply needs to regulate motorcycle operators, as the new law would only render many jobless in the country. Adebayo Abisola was there and now reports.
Barely 24 hours to the commencement of the ban on operations of commercial motorcycles and tricycles in some areas in Lagos State. Motorcyclists on the platform of bike hailing services, Golkada and Max, have trooped out in their numbers to protest the action. Chanting solidarity songs and carrying placards at the Lagos State Governor's office in Lassa, Ikeja, the bike riders voiced their antagonism to the ban.
The governor himself should please consider people. We are thousands of people dying on the road because of no jobs. But please, we are really begging, solidarizing, pleasing, crying that our families are there. We are safe with this company.
Please, there's no other thing I know how to do. As for me, I don't know anything to do again. This is my only work. I'm a good rider. I'm a professional. I'm well trained by Golkada.
It will affect anybody because we have families to feed. We pay everything in Lagos. We pay house bill, water bill, NEPA bill, everything. So this is going to affect us badly.
Our own has been professionalized. We have training that we have done, series of training. We have technology that has been inputted. So they should check. For the past years that we have started, there is no debt.
The protesters are asking the state government to regulate their services rather than completely banning them and taking them out of business.
The government should not ban us. Please regulate us. My colleagues are here pleading. We have families here with us. This is my sister now. She's here. We are training her together as well. Please, don't ban us. Regulate us instead. We are trained. We are professionals in our job.
What we are demanding is that banning is not the option. They should regulate this business, put up structures. There are no jobs. Some of us are graduates. Most people will be through with school now. There is no job for them to do. Let them regulate this job whereby people can finish schooling and join.
Attracted by the solidarity call, members of the Lagos State House of Assembly called for calm among the angry protesters.
The government has made pronouncement on this issue. Kindly keep cool and keep to the law until we will call you back. As important as this thing, we cannot waste time on it. But you have to maintain law and you have to exhibit the same conduct which you have exhibited today. You have to maintain it. Maintain the law. They say the law is operating as from tomorrow. Kindly maintain it. It is when they see your conduct, then obey first. Then we will know what to do.
According to the Lagos State government, the ban will affect 6 major local governments, 9 LCDAs, and 10 major highways. Many have, however, reacted to the ban, saying it is a harsh reality for investors of the bike hailing companies, while some commended the government's decision, saying it aligns with the primary goal of a good government to protect lives and properties. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Lagos.
News Now. We'll be right back to this. Okay, welcome back. We're now joined by Onyi Adekunle for business.
Well, thank you very much, Aneta. Now, unless trained officers are appointed to head the agency, the country may not get the expected revenue from the Nigeria Customs Service. Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Customs, Senator Francis Fadaunsi, said this in Abuja. The lawmaker, who retired from the Customs as Assistant Controller General, added that the Customs has the capacity to generate 3 times its current revenue if round pegs are fixed in round holes.
The Nigeria Customs Service in 2019 generated about 1.3 trillion naira. This figure, though huge, has been described as mega by the Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Customs, Excise and Tariffs, Francis Fadaunsi. The lawmaker, while speaking in Abuja, said the Customs Service, as a major revenue agency of government, need to do more so that government can have resources to finance the 2020 budget. He believes the agency can generate far more than what is currently obtainable if a trained custom officer is allowed to lead the agency.
There's a brigadier general they are serving, who is the PSO to the retired colonel in custom service, which can never happen in the army. Because I've never seen where a retired controller general or a controller or deputy controller is now a chief of army staff. I have never seen a retired controller general becoming a chief of naval staff or air staff. So for all those areas to be a revenue generating area, to be manned by a military policeman, it is an aberration.
The lawmaker said the closure of Nigeria's borders since 2019 is not helping the revenue of the country, stressing that the ban on importation of foreign rice is not well timed, as the country cannot meet with huge demand by consumers.
The rice farmers you are closing borders for, they are not ready for the market. You have seen them now, they have confessed. Many rice farmers, so-called big rice farmers that they were making out during the time of border closure, they could not meet the demand of the market. We are expected to have 7 million metric tons for consumption in a year. You can only produce 3.5 million. Where is the balance? The people we have to sort out.
Fadaunsi suggested that instead of the border closure, the government should implement border management and control to check importation and also adjust the tariffs to make more money for the country. Onyi Adekunle, TV360, Abuja.
We'll take a short break here and return with Stock Market Review. Weekly trading activities on the NSE closed in the reds today, as with profit taken by investors lasting the whole week. The NSE sustained losses today to close January on a sour note, as sell-offs in Stanbic, CAP, Presco and Guarantee Trust Bank and 20 other equities closed to the cost to the market 96 billion naira. And consequently, the all-share index at the close of trading today, which opened at 29,552 basis points at the beginning of the week, dipped by 709 points, closing by 0.65% down today. In the same vein, investors lost 365 billion naira on the floor of the market amid the bearish trend throughout the week. On the flip side, to the gainers now, BUA Cement led the percentage gainers today, selling at 37 naira per kobo. And of course, it is trailed by Access Bank PLC. Owando and Jazz Bank also witnessed price appreciation in the value of their share prices today. In all, investors traded 348 million units of shares worth 4.2 billion naira in 4,610 deals. And onto the foreign markets now. FTSE unfortunately is down today, stumbling as coronavirus spreads to the UK. Dow equally dropped more than 400 points on fears of the deadly respiratory disease. Luckily for Nikkei, it closed higher, 0.99%, due to some upbeat corporate earnings and forecasts, although the benchmark recorded its worst weekly slide in 6 months on fears of the rapidly spreading coronavirus in China. And that's it from here. It's back to you, Annette.
Thanks, Zoe. And indeed, we're yet to hear the last of the coronavirus outbreak, as Britain has confirmed its first 2 cases of the respiratory disease on Friday as it lifted 83 UK citizens out of Wuhan, China. England's chief medical officer, Chris Whitty, said the 2 individuals are members of the same family and that they were receiving specialist care from the extremely prepared health service. Lunar New Year celebrations across the UK have now been cancelled because of the outbreak of the coronavirus. Chinese health officials say more than 9,800 people are confirmed to have been infected. And the World Health Organization has now declared the coronavirus as a global emergency. And in sports, to reduce the gap between the world's leading football nations and others, FIFA has announced the launch of what it calls a groundbreaking talent development program. Former Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger, who is now working as the head of global development at FIFA, launched the program in Doha. The program will allow all 211 member associations to benefit from a FIFA assessment of all national teams, domestic leagues, scouting projects, and academies. FIFA says the programs will help develop homegrown coaches, technical directors, and provide specialized courses for goalkeeping coaches and beach soccer. And that's it on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Many thanks for watching.